Hi everybody, Mike from FisherMN here. Last week I told you how I got all my tackle. This week we're going to talk about storing that tackle in the Plano Edge tackle box system. As I think about storing all my tackle, I have two different plans for it. One is to store some of my tackle and just kind of house it so it's ready for me. And then the on-the-go tackle that's going to be traveling with me, and I need it in a little bit more portable boxes so that I can keep it in my kayak. Let's start with the storage. I need a place to put my bulk of what I have in lures. So I found some deals, as I talked about. If you saw my last video, I saw lots of deals this winter. And when I saw some things on sale, I started accumulating, and then I thought, you know what? I think Plano Edge is the way for me to go. I'd used the portable boxes all last season, and you'll see when I get to those portable boxes how they've held up just great. So the times when I went shopping this winter, I'd always kind of have an eye out, and I found this box. It's a spinnerbait box, and a couple of summers ago, you might remember I had some really good luck with buzzbaits on one of my favorite lakes from that summer.
There we go. Fish on. Hey, first bass.
And what do we do when we have good luck? We get a whole nother genre of lures that we have to store. So what I did was I bought the spinnerbait box and all those buzz baits and a few spinner baits too. I'm not much of a spinnerbait guy, more of a chatterbait guy. Fit in here, and they just kind of hang over the edge. The nice thing about the edge system is that you can move these dividers around, tons of room in there. So I think what I'll do is I'll just house these, and then when I think I'm gonna need a couple of buzz baits, I'll just come in and grab a couple here. Nice to have them all in one place. You'll see one of the portable boxes has an opening where I can fit a few spinner baits, just kind of lie them down in there. I will say that these Plano Edge boxes can be pretty expensive. I think regular price for the spinnerbait box is around $40 or $50, and it was on clearance here in Minnesota at Fleet Farm for $27, I believe. All right, moving on to my next storage box. Another one that was on sale. Bass Pro, during their spring extravaganza, had this one on sale. They had all of their boxes from Plano Edge on sale, but this one was a special markdown. And I think I can see why. It's called the small crankbait box. And I believe these boxes are made to put the crankbait straight up and down, so you just grab them by the bill. Well, it's not exactly working like that, but as you can see, they're sitting in there pretty nice. So this is another one of those storage boxes where I can come and I can just pick a few out and get them ready to go for a day trip or for a longer trip. So I've also put in some like rattle trap kind of baits, and those fit great right in between these long kind of fingers that are sticking up. So I believe that this box here was about $20, and that was $10 or $15 off the regular price. So nice to have a place to keep my smaller crankbaits. I left this on just so you can see what model it is. Definitely I'll be taking all the stickers off of these boxes as I go, then you can kind of see what's in there. Another nice feature they have, I didn't mention yet, is right here, you can label what's in the boxes. So once I get my system down, I'll take a Sharpie and I'll label what's in them, and that'll help even more with the organization. Moving on to my third storage box, probably my favorite. If you watch my channel, you know that the first thing I'm gonna do when I get to a lake is to fish topwater, more than likely a frog.
There we go. Another nice fish.
So with that in mind, when my sister asked me, what do you want for Christmas this year? I mentioned this Plano Edge frog box. Probably my favorite of all the Plano boxes, just because I never thought I'd have a box just for frogs. And this is actually pretty ingenious. So what it is it's a hanger. And you can just hang those frogs on there, and look at how many it can hold. So this is definitely a storing house where I'm going to keep my frogs. If you looked and said, what are those legs sticking up? Yeah, I've got a couple of these guys here. They were kind of hot a couple of years ago. They're a little small when I've tried to use them, but definitely I'm going to see what I can do about getting some bites on the old spider lure this year. To me, there's nothing like a frog bite on an early summer day. So this will help store all those frogs I'll be using this summer. All right, so these are the storage solutions I have that'll kind of be home-based, and then I'll take my flexible boxes out to get them loaded up. I'm guessing if you have a boat, you probably just keep these on the boat and they have all your tackle in one place. All right, now let's check out the flexible system I'll have when I go fishing this summer. So Plano's got technique-specific boxes. You saw in the storage boxes, I got a frog box, got a spinnerbait box, got a crankbait box. Well, it's no different for jigs. So the Plano Edge jig box has a unique way to hold your jigs all in one place. I liked it so much, I picked up another one, of course, on one of the sales. And I've got my chatterbaits in one, and I've got my jigs in another. This will be especially helpful for the longer trips, because I'm gonna probably go through more lures. If I'm just doing a day trip, I'll throw them in one of the other boxes that you'll see here in just a minute. So this is my chatterbait box. As you can see, they're very securely held in there. And the jigs just kind of fit in between these posts and hook side up, and they all sit in there really nice. So that'll be a good way to kind of keep my jigs in there, see what I've got. It'll make it easier when I'm wanting to change colors or whatever I want to do. Something I didn't mention yet are these little cartridges here. It's called the water wick, and it keeps your box from rusting even when you have it all sealed up. So that was another draw to these Plano Edge boxes for myself. Just not wanting to rust any of the hooks or get any of it in case there's some water after using a lure. So chatterbaits, jig box. I found out last summer that northerns like jigs too. So I was getting bit off quite a bit, so you need some extra jigs when you're fishing. So I got my assortment. I'm still leaning heavy towards the black and blue. Last summer, I've mentioned in a few videos, might seem kind of crazy, an older guy like me, but finally learned how to jig fish.
There we go. First jig fish. Look at that.
So I was able to, and what it took was some really slow days on the topwater bite. And what do? You just got to keep moving out, seeing if you can find the fish. It's been kind of crazy here in Minnesota with the water levels. So definitely the jig was a way last summer for me to keep the day going and get some really nice fish in the boat.
All right. Oh, there we go.
Can't wait to continue with the jig fishing this summer. All right, and these are the 3600 style of box, even though they have those other kind of dividers in them. And that's going to be important because 4 of these boxes fit comfortably under a Hobie seat. All right, well, now what do we have? We have a bunch of 3600 size Planos. I said I'd kind of show you the wear and tear. This was a box I used all last year. And you can see there's just a little bit of stuff in there, and of course the glass gets a little bit scuffed up and stuff. I could probably wash that right off, but overall the latches are working. No problem with any lures rusting or anything, and definitely these go through a workout, because there's a lot of times when I'm getting up at 3 in the morning and getting out the lake late, and I don't have time to really take care of my lures like I should. So these boxes have been great. So just an example, this one has a bunch of different dividers in it. Line up those crankbaits, line up whatever kind of lure you're going to be using. What I've decided to do, and I haven't labeled them yet because like I said, I'm still kind of figuring out my plan, but this will be my river box, or my smallmouth box. And you can see, if you've watched my channel, you've probably seen most of these lures in action. Even threw a couple of small jigs in there. That's something I haven't really done on the river yet. But I've got the skidder props. Definitely need to get a frog in there. If you've watched some of my river videos, there's no better way to catch a big smallmouth on the river is with a frog. Got my river / smallmouth box together. I'll definitely use this one on a lake too if I'm fishing smallmouth bass. So you got a river box or a smallmouth box. You got to have a largemouth box also. This is another version of their 3600 series box, and this one, rather than having dividers, is open, and it has these removable dividers. So it was really kind of cool. I took one of the jig box holders and I put it in here so I can hold some jigs and hold some chatterbaits. This would be a perfect box if I'm just kind of going for the day somewhere. Don't have to lug all that other stuff around, or I could leave the bigger box in my car, and then I have pretty much what I need for a day on the water if it's just like a day trip. So just kind of nice to not have bigger boxes, kind of taking up floor space. The kayak is pretty small, so it's kind of nice to be able to just have a few of these boxes along. So we've got the smallmouth box, we've got the jig boxes, we've got the bass box. Well, I think I'm gonna recommit to some northern fishing this summer. It's been something I've done around Mille Lacs quite a bit since I've got my kayak, but it's been a couple of years since I've really been targeting northerns. Back when I was targeting northerns, I'd find some stretches on Mille Lacs where I couldn't keep the northerns off the hook. One of my favorite colors of a MEP spinner, green with a white tail, and I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but I'm going to. This is the all-time best Mille Lacs lure that I've had, and it's this kind of pink with the blue blade and a brownish kind of tail of a MEP spinner. I always use size 5. That's just my favorite size to be using on Mille Lacs. So got some crankbaits in here. You can see that these boxes hold quite a bit of stuff. Something else I'm gonna add to this box, and I gotta send a shout out to Paul, who's been watching my videos. He sent me some of his own custom-made leaders, and you can bet, Paul, I'm gonna put that on one of these MEP spinners. So I really appreciate you sending those out to me. Optimism, optimism, optimism. All those boxes are talking about when you catch a fish and when we're gonna catch a fish, but you know what? Some days are kind of slow. So I actually have, I don't know if you want to call it a slump buster box or a slow day box, but I've got some trolling spoons, I've got some jigging wraps, and I mentioned too in my last video, there are these derrick hoop lures, which can be used when the fishing is slow and maybe the fish are deep and lethargic. You can kind of jig those towards the bottom. So you need a slow day box, and that's what this one is. So as I figure out how it's working and stuff, then it might get that label there, a slow day box. But we're gonna see how this all comes together this summer. So there you have it, or should I say, there you have it again. Little technical glitch. I'm refilming the ending to this video, but I just want to say I sure do like these Plano Edge tackle boxes. Now, one last thing, you might see something in the middle here I haven't talked about, and that is a holder for soft plastics. So for years when I wasn't fishing soft plastics, I always wondered why these bass boats would open their storage and they just have bins and bins of these soft plastics. I just figured, oh, they needed a color for every occasion. What I found out as I've been using them is you go through a lot of them, and that's why you have to have a bunch. So this system seems like it's going to be really good. I have not all, but a lot of the soft plastics that I bought that I kind of highlighted in my video of getting lures. And check it out. They just kind of unroll, and you got this big sheet of plastics, and you can kind of see what's in every compartment. So I just think this is going to be great, especially on longer trips. This might also be more of a storage, and then maybe take a little bag to put some in for the day-to-day use. Still kind of deciding how I'm going to use it, but for sure on some of those long trips to Grand Rapids, I'm going to need to bring a lot of stuff, and definitely this could just roll up and be right behind my seat in the kayak. So once again, I think Plano has some of the best solutions when you're looking at lures and how to store everything. Let me know what you think. How do you organize your lures? What types of things do you use? I'm hoping this is a system that's going to last me for a few years at least. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.